80-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge be the breath of fresh air the Congress desperately needs to take on the mighty BJP? That's my top focus on the Newstrack tonight.
Another twist in Congress soap opera. Digvijay bows out. Kharge steps in. Tharoor taunts continuity candidate. Clearly, it's selection, not election. G23 is now G23. Congress back to square one. Big focus on Newstrack.
We'll bring you all the action that transpired behind the scenes in the last 24 hours, which saw an 80-year-old man being brought out as the new face of the Congress party. Here are the headlines I'm tracking tonight. Shashi Tharoor hits out to the Congress top brass over Kharge's nomination for party president. Tharoor calls Kharge a candidate of continuity. Prime Minister Modi's big development push in Gujarat flags off the third Vande Bharat Express and launches the Ahmedabad Metro. Bulldozers return to Noida apartment complex where suspended BJP Neta Shrikant Tyagi assaulted a woman. Illegal construction at over 90 houses raised. Residents protest. RBI hikes repo rate by 50 basis points to 5.90% as the battle against inflation continues. Russia annexes 15% of Ukraine after Putin signs executive orders. Zelensky says his country is submitting an accelerated application to join the NATO. The more things change, the more they remain the same. This adage perfectly describes what went down in the Congress presidential election today. 80-year-old Gandhi loyalist Mallikarjun Kharge was fielded at the last moment to take on Dr. Shashi Tharoor. And what's more, the dissenters, the G23 members, also came out in support of the High Command's choice, leaving many with the question, is this an election or is this just a selection?
First came the Trump.
तो मैंने तय किया है अब मैं इस माहौल के अंदर चुनाव नहीं लड़ूंगा ये मेरा फैसला है
And the Trump withdrew unceremoniously a week later. This 75-year-old upped the stakes next.
मैं आज अपना नामांकन फॉर्म लेने आया हूं और संभवतः कल भरूंगा, लेकिन अब उनका इरादा है फॉर्म भरने का, तो मैंने कहा कि ठीक है, मैं आपका प्रस्तावक बनूंगा.
But walked back blank a day later. And here comes the High Command's wild card, and among its oldest in the Congress fold, 80-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge. The leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, the party's Dalit face down south in Karnataka, a former union minister, and above all, a long-time loyalist of the Gandhi family.
कांग्रेस पार्टी के जो उसूल हैं, जो आइडियोलॉजी है, उस आइडियोलॉजी के साथ मैं बचपन से जुड़ा हूं. जब मैं 8th 9th में पढ़ता था, आज मुझे फिर कांग्रेस पार्टी के सभी नेताओं ने आशीर्वाद करके अपने गुड विशेस मेरे साथ रख के आज मुझे कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट के लिए ये नामांकित किया गया है. या मैं जो आज जो फॉर्म भर रहा हूं, तो बड़े उत्साह के साथ मेरे साथ सभी लोग जुड़े हैं.
Kharge filed his nomination for party presidency on Friday. This after other veterans Ashok Gehlot and Digvijay Singh bowed out.
The Congress is chaotic, and that chaos was reflected that Digvijay Singh decides, plunges into the contest. Lots of people have come here from Madhya Pradesh hearing that Digvijay is going to contest, and then the Congress leadership is able to convince or is able to build a consensus around Mr. Kharge and convince number of other leaders that look, Kharge is the best man for the job, someone who's a pure Congress loyalist. And Mr. Digvijay Singh has no option then but to bow out, because look, at the end of the day, no one wants to defy the Congress High Command beyond a point. Ashok Gehlot attempted to do so, and you saw what happened in Rajasthan.
Drama in full swing at the Congress headquarters as the members of the G23 came in their hordes to support Kharge's candidacy. Not seen in the good books of the Gandhis, many of them signed off as proposers in his nomination document.
श्री मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे बहुत ही कांग्रेस पार्टी के वरिष्ठ नेता हैं और मैं और श्री आनंद शर्मा जी दोनों उनका जो नामांकन है उसका समर्थन करने के लिए आए हैं।
Party MP Shashi Tharoor filed his nomination some hours before. He tweeted out this video showcasing his appeal at the local and at the global level.
ये 23 लोग मेरे ख्याल में कभी भी एक साथ इकट्ठे नहीं हुए हैं मेरी जानकारी में। अगर उनमें से कुछ लोग 4-5 लोग जो भी है खरगे साहब को मदद करेंगे, मैं बिल्कुल रिस्पेक्ट करता हूं। ये तो अच्छी बात है खरगे साहब के लिए।
Even as Tharoor projected his candidacy as a serious bid, voices within the Congress emerged that he better retreat from the race.
I think all of us should now rally around and unanimously elect him the next president. Now I would request Mr. Shashi Tharoor to withdraw.
That said, a former Jharkhand minister and Congress leader, K.N. Tripathi, also filed his papers. But for now, the spotlight remains on a career politician and a family favorite, not on the right side of age on the one hand, and a former career diplomat not really blessed by the family on the other. With Mosmi Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.
Can an 80-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge be the breath of fresh air the Congress desperately needs to take on the mighty BJP? Joining me on the Newstrack showdown tonight, we've got Syed Nasir Hussain, Member of Parliament, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Rashid Kidwai joins us, one of the foremost commentators on the Congress. We've got Rajat Sethi joining us for a right-leaning perspective. Ranji Thomas joins us, senior advocate and former AICC secretary. And with me in the studio, Rajdeep Sardesai, who interviewed seemingly confident Digvijay Singh yesterday evening. And Digvijay suggested to you that he wanted to fight. Where did the fight go in Digiraja? Why did he cop out?
Rahul, 24 hours ago on this very show, I said there will be a wild card. There will be another twist. Because that is the nature of this party called the Congress. It's relatively democratic but chaotic. So you never know what tomorrow brings.
What is democratic about what happened?
You know,
Mallikarjun Kharge is quite literally the antithesis of what the Congress needs at this moment to take on Modi and Shah. And that's the man they find. His only qualification at the moment is that he's a diehard loyalist, more diehard than Ashok Gehlot.
Look, the fact is, Mallikarjun Kharge, you're absolutely right, has been chosen because he's a die-hard loyalist of the Congress party, first family of the high command of the Gandhi family. But interestingly, where did the democracy come? I was at the Congress headquarters, Rahul, this afternoon. And suddenly I was surrounded by all these workers from Madhya Pradesh who had come thinking they would celebrate Digvijay Singh as a potential next Congress president. And all of them angrily on camera saying, we want a younger leader. We want Digvijay Singh. We want a leader from the Hindi heartland.
What happened to Digvijay Singh? Why did he bow out?
Look, at the end of the day, the Congress is a party where with all these rifts, dissensions, factions comes together like one. You know, that's why I say it's like a soap opera that comes together like a family reunion.
But he should have fought a good fight. Why did he not fight a good fight?
I'll tell you what it is. Rahul, in the Congress today, there are effectively, I would say, multiple groups, but two clear ones. One, who are, I call the Rahul Gandhi 21st century generation, and the 1980s group who grew up in the Indira's, definitely Rajiv Gandhi generation. They are close to Sonia Gandhi. And the other group, which is close to Rahul Gandhi, they have different views of where the Congress should go.
Kharge falls into which camp?
So therefore, to resolve this conflict, they went back to the Indira Gandhi generation to look for someone who would be who would provide them a sense of continuity. There's that French saying, Rahul, which you started off with, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. That's the Congress party. When they are pushed into a corner, rather than encourage disruption, they choose to go for the status quo. Kharge is a status quo candidate. I'll tell you what happened with Digvijay. Digvijay has a relatively independent identity. 2-time chief minister, like Ashok Gehlot, 3-time chief minister.
He has a mind of his own.
They have a mind of their own. They will speak on issues and possibly as a result create potential areas of conflict, as we saw with Ashok Gehlot earlier this week. All of that led the High Command to be pushed in a way on the defensive in the last few days and scurry around looking for a candidate.
No, then Rahul Gandhi should have signed up himself. He doesn't want to bat. He doesn't want to let anybody else come in and bat. He brings in somebody who can't bat at the age of 80. Do you think he has the energy to take on a Modi and Shah?
I'll tell you, Rahul, now you're hitting the nail on the head, because the question is, Rahul Gandhi today is the face with the power without the responsibility. Whoever becomes Congress president will have all the responsibility without the power. Why is it that, interestingly, so many candidates, I can give you a list from Kamal Nath to Mukul Vasnik to a number of others who were in a way sounded out, said no. Imagine you're getting a chance to be Congress president. Even Ashok Gehlot was reluctant to move to Delhi, happier in Jaipur. Kamal Nath happier in Bhopal than in Delhi. Why? Because here in Delhi, you will have to work very closely under the Congress High Command, under it, with responsibility but without the power. And therefore, I think eventually a situation was created where the Congress leadership decided to play safe. Let's go with Mallikarjun Kharge.
Because he won't rebel. His only qualification is he will never speak his mind and defy anything that either Sonia or Rahul or Priyanka say, or even if their children say something. Mallikarjun Kharge is the kind of character who will agree to that.
The unfortunate part is, in Delhi we see Mallikarjun Kharge through that prism, and you're right to see it. His 3 children, interestingly, are called Rahul, Priyank and Priyadarshini. But the fact also is that he, in the Karnataka context, was at one time in the past a heavyweight leader, has come up through the ranks, was the son of a mill worker, comes from a very poor Dalit family.
That's all in the past, Rajdeep.
That's the problem. So
you have to take on Modi, Shah, Yogi, the BJP, the RSS, and this is your best player. This is your best bet. This is what the last several days have been about.
You're going back to the past in the context of what the Congress has done, and you're absolutely right. The Congress is looking to the future through the rear view mirror, and you can't do that. JP Nadda may well be someone who has been selected by Modi, Shah, and does their bidding. But he's interestingly travelled, I'm told, to over 150 constituencies, primarily those where the BJP did not do well in the Lok Sabha, to build up morale of the workers there. Can Mr. Kharge really do that? No.
He's got serious health issues.
He's got serious health issues. Therefore, the problem I have with the Congress party is that it was a good idea to start this election process. It enthuses workers. I saw more people at the Congress office today than I've seen in a long time. But when you enthuse people, when you recognize that your weaknesses are in attracting the young, in attracting the voters of the Hindi heartland, what do? You choose Mr. Kharge from Karnataka, who is not from the Hindi heartland and who's 80. No, because you needed an inspirational choice.
But one of the disqualifications thrown at Shashi Tharoor's face was that he spoke English and he came from the south, and that his Hindi wasn't good enough. I mean, with no disrespect to Mr. Kharge, he neither speaks English nor Hindi very well in comparison with a Narendra Modi whom he is up against. So how is Shashi Tharoor's English speaking skills something which is held against him? Between the two, does Shashi have a chance at all?
No, Shashi has no chance at all.
No chance in hell.
Given the fact, look at the people who filed nominations for Mallikarjun Kharge, the entire G23, or most of them.
That is not G23, that is G23.
No,
just what a cop-out that lot was.
Because I'll tell you what, Rahul, what's happened with the Congress? There was a time when Congress had strong mass leaders from states who really had an independent identity. When Devraj Ars broke with Indira Gandhi in the 1970s, he was the top leader of Karnataka. When Sharad Pawar chose to take on a Sonia Gandhi, he had his base in Western Maharashtra. So these were leaders with a base. In this entire G23, the only leader with a base was Bhupinder Singh Hooda, and he's been accommodated because his son has become a Rajya Sabha MP, and he's been told you can handle Haryana now. So when you have groups of self-interest leaders at the second level who are only looking to satisfy their immediate ambitions, it becomes very easy for the party high command to either play one against the other or put them in a position where they are dependent on the party high command. You see, that's the difference.
No, but Manish Tiwari, this whole gang that's on your screen right now, you know, they'd been threatening that they would file elections as well. I'm thinking about it. And then all talk and no action.
You see, because in the way the Congress elections are structured, unless you have the official or unofficial support of the Gandhi family and the party high command, it becomes very difficult.
Then stop calling it an election. Just call it a selection. This is hardly as if you've elected a president. This is a sham. It's a farce. And the Congress is going through the motions. Rashid Kidwai, Rajdeep's told us what he knows. You tell me what happened. Why did Digvijay Singh back out?
I think, Rahul, I'm very clear in your mind. He became a victim of that palace intrigue. There are a lot of, the Congress may be out of power, but there are many elements in the Congress who believe in and who are past masters in this kind of, politicking and pitting one against another. Digvijay Singh faced resistance on many counts. The caste considerations were, there is a Dalit lobby, there is the Brahmin lobby, they all ganged up, and a lot of, past things were raked up. As if, the Rajputs have not been loyal to the Congress leadership. Chandrasekhar's name was cited, VP Singh's name was cited, all kind of things happened. And then the thing about Digvijay Singh being, overtly anti-Hindu, or he would hurt the Hindu sentiments and all. I think Sonia Gandhi was pressurized. And when I'm saying palace intrigue, I mean, it's not without a reason, because Mr. Digvijay Singh was in Yatra, he left Yatra, whether he had taken a kind of expressed approval of Rahul Gandhi or not, I'm not sure. But there must have been some kind of, some kind of communication, some kind of indication may have been there. And Mr. Digvijay Singh, he's of course an ambitious politician, but he's also very cautious. So the way he fell from this race is something which is very intriguing, which is out of character.
No, but listen, you're trying to make it seem as if there were others in the palace outside of the Gandhis who had a problem with Digvijay Singh. I'd argue that given the fact that Ashok Gehlot flexed his muscles, the Gandhis were uncomfortable in having a man with a mind of his own, and that's what Digvijay Singh is. He has a mind of his own. They'd rather have somebody who, when they say G, they'll say G, G, G.
No, let me just add, let me just qualify that with one point. Digvijay Singh would not have got into this race without having got some kind of an implicit nod from Rahul Gandhi and people close to Rahul Gandhi where he was at the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Digvijay Singh has, in a sense, built a sense of equity. He's organizing the entire Bharat Jodo Yatra. Once Mr. Gehlot got out of the race, Mr. Digvijay Singh perhaps saw an opportunity, but he wouldn't have seen that opportunity without some implicit backing. That's what I'm saying. There's a generational clash. Digvijay Singh is in that 1980s generation who grew up in the Indira Rajiv era. There's a 2000 plus generation who's grown up in the Rahul Gandhi era. Digvijay Singh closer to Rahul Gandhi, but there are those around various this kind of palace intrigue in the Congress who fear that a Digvijay Singh could become like Ashok Gehlot tomorrow, out of control possibly, will say things without necessarily taking approval of the Gandhi. So I think it's the nature of the party. When you are playing safe, it's a party, remember, which tends to be status quo. When it was a party of power, it could get away with that. Now in this new age where Modi, Shah have taken over large parts of the country, the Congress needs much more disruption. The workers, ironically, Rahul, the workers are very enthusiastic. As when I was in the Congress office, I was quite interested to see
enthusiastic that they've chosen Mallikarjun Kharge. Are you serious?
No, enthusiastic about the fact that the Congress was having an election. But the moment they heard it was Mallikarjun Kharge, the same workers, mainly from North India, felt whatever happened to what we thought was going to happen this morning, that Digvijay Singh, earlier 3 days ago, Ashok Gehlot, these are leaders with whom the Hindi heartland workers can identify. My point is, the Congress at the moment needs an organizational man and they need inspiring figures. Mallikarjun Kharge does not tick those boxes at the age of 80. The Congress, I repeat, has chosen status quo when they should have gone in for disruption.
Will Mallikarjun Kharge, in your view, Rashid Kidwai, be a half-decent president? Can he be the breath of fresh air the Congress desperately needs? Or is it just like sending a night watchman to hold the innings because the man they want shoot bat, which is Rahul Gandhi, is refusing to pad up? So they send a night watchman in.
Well, I think, Rahul, we can go on criticizing Rahul Gandhi in every sphere of the Congress, but fact of the matter is, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge's recent track record is far from, convincing or inspirational. He was a very key observer, a chairman of a committee
You're
of
saying
Punjab, and he was
not convincing. He went to Rajasthan. He didn't know what was happening under his
Precisely,
nose.
I was coming to that.
Between
No,
Ajay
and Chennai,
Makan and
and choice
Kharge,
of Chennai.
Makan still figured out at 8 p.m. that the MLAs weren't coming and something was amiss. Kharge was sitting there twiddling his thumb saying, Kai is asking people in Rajasthan from what we gathered from the Chief Minister's residence. He didn't even know there was a coup brewing right under his nose, Rashid.
Yeah, and he was considered as the architect of this master stroke in Punjab of bringing Charanjit Singh Channi as chief minister. So what I'm saying is, and what he did or didn't do in Jaipur, it tells you what kind of person is he, what kind of authority he enjoys. And imagine that person would be in charge of. I mean, he would be Congress president. He would be handling Congress affairs in all 28 states. So this is from saying Mr. Kharge is far from being, inspirational or equipped to deal with the crisis the Congress is facing.
What the Congress needs, Rahul, is an HR department. Because a good HR department will choose the right person for the right post. What they've done over the last few years is chosen the wrong people in the wrong post.
No, but deliberately chosen.
Navjot Sidhu, Charanjit Singh Channi. When Channi was chosen, remember there was all this talk about first Dalit Chief Minister of Punjab. He's going to bring in the Dalit vote. Didn't work. Look at the kind of people they choose as general secretaries in different states. Look at even in my home state of Goa, choose someone like Mr. Lobo from the BJP, make him leader of the opposition. He leaves the party. So their ability to identify the right people for the right post, the right talent is one of the biggest weaknesses. Why? Because when you're insecure and when you fear that everyone around you will be disloyal and you want a loyalty test, then you don't choose people necessarily on merit, but you choose them for criteria outside merit. And that's where I think the Congress, which is still a powerful pan-India brand, tends to fail.
No, but they're working very hard to kill it. I mean, I've never seen a bunch of people work harder to kill equity than the Congress leadership is at this moment. Mallikarjun Kharge, Nasir Hussain is the last thing the Congress needs. Do you really think an 80-year-old man with very serious health issues, and I say this with no disrespect and with regard for his age, but he is not going to be able to take on Modi and Shah. He was the man who was sitting in Jaipur, who had absolutely no idea that rebellion was brewing under his nose. He's the one who was in Punjab in charge of making Charanjit Singh Channi, who's currently in Canada, chief minister. And he's been rewarded now for his incompetence by making him the next Congress president.
Rahul, I think it looks like it's a Kharge bashing session today on your television channel.
No, we're just stating facts for what they are. Each of what has been said is factually correct.
So first of all, first of all, listen to me. First of all, listen to me. Mr. Rahul. Nobody is an official candidate here in the Congress party. Nobody is an official candidate here in the Congress party. The Congress party has an independent election authority. Mrs. Gandhi, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, everyone has made it very clear that it will be an independent election, it will be a free and fair election. Anybody who wants to contest the election can do so. Anybody who wants to back up anybody can do so. There will be no official candidate in this election. Now, today, if some of
why
the
did Digvijay Singh back down? Nasir Hussain, why did Digvijay Singh back down? He wanted to fight. Obviously, somebody told him not to fight, which is why he backed down.
Rahul, you don't want me to answer your questions, or you want to speak on your own? You have been speaking for the past 20 minutes. You are not allowing others to speak.
I'm hearing you go on. I see you are agitated, which is fine. Please go on.
And when I speak, please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. See, it's a free and fair election. There is no official candidate. Everyone is free to contest election. Now, nobody had asked anybody to contest the election. Neither anybody asked anybody to withdraw from the election. They wanted to contest the election on their own. They are withdrawing on their own. Why bring the Gandhis here? Gandhis will always be important to the Congress party because of their family sacrifice, because the way they have led the party and led the country in the past. So you cannot disassociate Gandhis from Congress party. Let it be very clear. The way RSS cannot be disassociated from the BJP, Congress party cannot be dissociated from the Gandhi. But the Gandhis have made it clear that there will be no candidate from the Gandhi family.
Okay, can I
are
ask
not
you a
going to
different
support
question?
any
Nasir Hussain,
candidate.
you've spoken
They
for
are
a
not going to
while.
ask anybody
Why,
to withdraw
according
from
to
the
you,
contest.
is Mallikarjun Kharge? Mr. Hussain, listen to my question. I've heard you. Why is Mallikarjun Kharge the man who can take on Modi and Shah, who can take on the might of the BJP machine, an 80-year-old man with serious health issues? You think he is what the Congress needs?
Rahul, let the election happen. There are 3 candidates in the fray. Let the election happen. Let there be a new presidential candidate. Let there be a new president for the AICC, and all of you will see what the new president of the AICC
Can
will
there
do.
be reverse swing, Rashid Kidwai? Is there a way in which Shashi Tharoor can be president? You know, when you see the images from Shashi Tharoor's house, there's a certain festivity in the air. There are these young professionals wanting to join in. Shashi Tharoor says, I expand the Congress vote, which is untested but possible given the fact that he has a cleaner image and almost certainly more inspiring for young India, for new India than someone like an 80-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge. Does Shashi have a chance according to you?
Yes, Rahul, indeed, if Gandhis wanted, if Mr. Nasir Hussain's party leadership declares openly and publicly that, let there be a conscience vote, let every PCC delegate, use, their own political assessment and vote. And if such an appeal is issued all over India, if Mr. K.C. Venugopal doesn't, kind of lobby and mobilize support for Mr. Kharge, you will see that the Congress elections would change. Like it happened in case of that.
Do you think that's possible,
Rajdeep?
Shashi Tharoor, the moment he came out, and this reminded me a bit of what happened in the UK in that Liz Truss versus Rishi Sunak battle, where both had promotional videos out. Shashi had a nice promotional video out, a low-angle shot. He's marching in Kerala. There are some excerpts from the India Today conclave as well. There's some music, song, and dance. Could he somehow get this ossified electoral college to see reason and see why he's better than Mallikarjun Kharge? That's that video at the back there. If we can increase the audio just for a few seconds, can I listen to that, please? Just increase the audio.
That many countries have built railways and roads without having had to be colonized in order to do so.
These promotional videos for intra-party contests in the US, in the UK, in other countries like Australia, you don't see them in India. So Shashi has his game on. He has a lot of young people cheering from him. Shashi thinks he has a chance, does he?
No, he doesn't have a chance, but I want to say 2 things. One, credit to Shashi Tharoor.
Oh, sure.
Salute to him because he has actually walked the talk. He is someone who was signed on to that so-called G23 letter asking for change within the Congress in terms of the way the party was functioning. I interviewed him earlier and he's very clear. He actually with his views that we can't have a centralized party high command, we need to decentralize, all fine views. So hats off to him for actually taking the plunge. It increases his brand equity beyond a doubt. But where Shashi Tharoor doesn't recognize or maybe recognizes and knows the realities on the ground, who controls the state leaderships controls the state delegates. And all these state leaderships take their instructions from the party high command. And the likes of K.C. Venugopal, the Congress General Secretary organization, who really is the person who's conducting this entire show, choreographing it in a way on behalf of the Gandhis. Now you will find, as was in 1997, when even a Sitaram Kesri defeated Sharad Pawar and Rajesh Pilot by a huge margin, or Sonia Gandhi won 99% of the votes, there will be a big victory. Shashi Tharoor's best case is that he's at least able to become a voice for those who believe that the Congress cannot go on with business as usual. And therefore, all credit to him.
Yeah, but he can say that, and in the end, Mallikarjun Kharge is the man they'll elect. So what's the point?
Look, that's the problem.
Shashi Tharoor was a great debater, so he'll make all the points. I'd love to see a Mallikarjun Kharge versus Shashi Tharoor debate. Will we get to see that?
No, but
why not? Let there be a debate. Mallikarjun Kharge versus Shashi Tharoor. We'll show it live on India.
Rahul, we've been going on about and berating the Congress for the last 20 minutes, and rightly so in many ways. Is there a debate ever? Has the BJP, for example, ever elected a leader?
No, but the BJP is not in the mess that the Congress is. It's the Congress that needs ICU treatment.
Parties chosen leader.
But it's the Congress that's in ICU. It's the Congress that needs desperate measures given the drastic situation that it faces.
So eventually the Congress will have to revive by settling its leadership question. What they've done is done a patchwork job for, as you rightly said, a patient which you said is in ICU. They've applied Band-Aid. Said, look, we are holding an election, without recognizing that people want to see more. They want to see a new Congress in every sense of the word that is able to move beyond a high command culture, decentralize power to state leaders, work with
and
the young.
Digvijay Singh could have done a lot of that.
Look, at the end of the day, frankly, to my mind, given the state of the Congress, Rahul Gandhi should be doing it. He's the one who was chosen, remember, in 2017 as their leader, walked out after the 2019 elections, accepting responsibility for the defeat. In an ideal world, Rahul Gandhi will have to be the face of the Congress, but he's unwilling to do that. And therefore, the Congress is left with
how many successful, unwilling politicians have you seen in your political career? It's an oxymoron. You can't be unwilling and be successful. So whether it's as a journalist, whether it is as a CEO, you can't be unwilling to do your job and hope to be successful just because you have a surname that's Gandhi.
So that's the elephant in the room. In an ideal world, you should have had a strong, experienced organizational man, likely from the Hindi heartland, where the Congress has struggled in recent times, but who has connections with both the young and old, and therefore
like Digvijay Singh.
Whether it's Digvijay Singh, whether it's Ashok Gehlot, whoever it was, in an ideal world, that's what you needed. Someone with the hunger to do it also. At the end of the day, you are choosing someone who's a family loyalist, who's seen his best days behind him, and thereby, as I said earlier, you are looking at the Congress's future through a rear view mirror. And you can't look at the future through the prism of the past. Just to give an example, the BJP in 2012-13, after Mr. Modi won that election in 2012, decided to break with the Advani-Vajpayee era conclusively.
Send them all into the Margdarshak Mandal.
As a result, what happened? The BJP was able to redefine itself as a party for the future. That is, I think, the fact is BJP, in my view, is less democratic than the Congress, but more meritocratic. The Congress, in my view, is more democratic, but far more chaotic. And therefore,
I'm sorry, I disagree very strongly. Any notion of democracy that throws up Mallikarjun Kharge at the end of this long process is not democratic. That is just a bogus claim. It means very little.
It is. I'm only contrasting it with what I see around me in every political party. At least here you have, as I said earlier, party workers in the party office.
But that's not true. You
leadership.
Speak to somebody in the BJP, they'll tell you whether it is Modi or Amit Shah in private. They can say whatever they want to Modi and Shah.
Can any BJP worker at the party office question the leadership of Modi, Shah and Nadda?
I have seen personally.
In the party office,
asking tough questions to Amit Shah. It's happened various times. And he's had to explain his decisions, he's had to have to explain positions, and he's totally okay with it.
Do we know why Nitin Gadkari was removed as the BJP parliamentary board member? Look, it's a problem across parties. I don't want to engage in whataboutery. You're right, where the Congress's crisis is such, where it can't resort to whataboutery, what about other parties? They've got to get their own act together. They can't say, look at the BJP. At the moment, the BJP is in power and expanding. The Congress is not in power and shrinking. When you're shrinking and not in power, you need surgery. You don't need Band-Aid. Mallikarjun Kharge is Band-Aid at best, playing safe with mercury chrome, when actually you need surgery, for God's sake. That's the problem.
Rajat Sethi, the BJP ecosystem, the entire right-wing ecosystem is just loving this. They don't need to say or do anything. It seems as if there may be a problem if a Gehlot or a Digvijay come up, relatively speaking, at least more competent than Rahul Gandhi. But in the end, they throw up Mallikarjun Kharge and the BJP saying, bring it on.
So, well, Rahul, I think Congress needs to understand how organizations, especially old organizations, have to sustain through. Look at corporates. You'll see a lot of examples there when Microsoft became this old, non-agile sort of an organization. You see Bill Gates completely stepping out. They clung on to some time through Steve Ballmer and all, and they could not sustain the growth of Microsoft. Everybody had to leave, and they had to have a meritorious candidate like Satya Nadella come in and provide a completely different trajectory which nobody thought of. And it is, and Satya Nadella is not taking notes from the erstwhile figure, which was Bill Gates, taking notes from him as to how to run Microsoft. So only then this organization is sustained through. This is why if Congress does not find a formulation wherein they can completely cut off the Gandhi from the whole DNA, so to say, that Shashi Tharoor was mentioning, till that operation is not done, you will continue to struggle with this whole problem. And these farcical elections can happen every year. No, who cares at the end of the day? And I can tell you one thing. This current setup of Congress, this operation, this DNA removal of the Gandhis can only happen through some kind of a Schumpeterian creative destruction. This structure, the way it is, this organization, the pulls and the pressures and the kind of this old era politics can never be removed in its entirety, and that is the fundamental problem. This is why a person like Shashi Tharoor can never be a fit into this Congress setup.
Ranjit Thomas, do you think Shashi Tharoor has a chance? Can he? Rashid Kidwai seems to believe he has a chance if there's a conscience vote.
Shashi Tharoor is a competent person.
Sure.
He is having a vision, but unfortunately he is not in a position to, have a proper background of the political Indian Congress culture. The local culture which we are having in the state-wise, we don't have. So therefore, it is very difficult for him to get through.
Now, what is this culture that you are so proud of that throws the ultimate loyalist Mallikarjun Kharge at the end of this long facade? I mean, if all of this was for Kharge to become president, it's a waste of a lot of airtime.
I am not. In my view, what happened is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi's indecision to contest or not to contest was the main difficulty for any serious candidate to come out to contest the election. And everybody was hoping Ashok Gehlot will contest. And in the last minute development, what happened is that Mr. Ashok Gehlot preferred to become a chief minister than the Congress president, and neither here nor there, that business he didn't want. And therefore the other Congress leaders, including Mr. Kamal Nath, Mr. Chidambaram, there are so many leaders in the Congress who are capable to lead the Congress party. But they don't want to become a mere rubber stamp, and they don't want to become a rift between the family. Whereas Mrs. Gandhi is almost decided to retire from the Congress party's politics about few years back. 6-7 years back she has decided to retire. But unfortunately thereafter Mr. Rahul Gandhi's decision to resign from Congress presidency and all has forced her to
Rashid Kidwai, a lot of people messaging me to say what gives Rashid Kidwai hope that Shashi Tharoor has a chance. They're saying Rashid is a long time observer, but he seems to be disconnected with reality. Rajdeep too very vehemently insisting that Shashi has no chance.
Rahul, I think the Congress has a chance to prove both you and Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai wrong. Remember, the comparison with Kesari and with Sonia Gandhi versus Jitendra Prasad is not accurate, because at that time Kesari was Congress president and so was Sonia Gandhi. Here the Gandhis do not have, they are not in the fray. All they need to do is to say that apna vivek ka istemal kariye, use your, use your conscience, use your assessment, we want a naya
But if
Congress.
that's what they wanted to say, they wouldn't have chosen Mallikarjun Kharge, Rashid.
Do you know what
They would have let someone like a Digvijay fight. No. But they didn't trust him, so they didn't let him fight.
We can go on talking about past times, about present. Now the nominations have been filed. If Gandhis even symbolically, detach themselves and say that they are neutral, you will see that, unless the Congress delegates also want to change.
Can I tell you the reality of what happened today?
What?
Every Congress working committee member was rung up by a senior Congress leader close to the Gandhis and told, we expect you at the Congress office when Mr. Kharge is going to file his nomination. Please go through the list of those who have proposed Kharge's name. They're the who's who of the Congress.
Including the G23.
Including members of the G23. Are we really saying, therefore, that the Gandhis have not in some way tacitly backed Mr. Kharge as the unofficial official candidate? Just look at the people who are there. Look at the people who are part of Shashi Tharoor's list And look at the people who lined up behind Mallikarjun Kharge.
Including those who wanted change, who wanted a breath of fresh air. And the biggest cop-outs are that lot.
And many of them got phone calls this morning. My point is, if the Gandhis really want to stay neutral, and I think, and here I maintain, I know you might find this, not acceptable, but Rahul Gandhi actually, I think, wants, Rahul Gandhi is the one who's been emphasizing, I am told, within the Congress, process. The rest of the Gandhis and the rest of those around them still seem to believe that what if the process throws up someone who is not within our comfort zone, within our satellite. That's the worry. You see, the Congress has to recognize. Rahul Gandhi tried this even when he was in charge of the Youth Congress. Said, let's, have elections. Eventually, the Congress went back to the old system. The point is, the Congress has to decide, do you really want, and I had a more dramatic solution that I gave in a column once. I said, if Rahul Gandhi genuinely wants to reform the Congress in this manner, he should break the Congress, form his own party called Congress R. This is what Mrs. Gandhi did. In 1969,
that's laughable.
No, I'll
people
tell you what.
Who are supposed to be close to him all walk out. Jyotiraditya Scindia walked out. RPN Singh walked out.
Right.
Jiten Prasada walked out. His closest gang, those who he hangs with outside politics, also walked out on him. Who will join this Congress R?
So therefore, the choice must be made by every congressman. As Indira Gandhi did in 1969, when she genuinely took on the old guard, she formed her own party. The problem with Rahul Gandhi or those close to him, as I said earlier, they want the power without the responsibility and the accountability that comes with power. If you really want to revive the Congress and reform it, as I believe, Rahul Gandhi, those close to him insist that he does, then break the Congress and stride out on your own. Even if it means, in a strange way, taking out the so-called Sonia loyalists. Because you can't have it both ways. And that's what we've seen with Gehlot. Because there the MLA said, look, we will not accept Sachin Pilot thrust on me. That's what we've seen in the last 24 hours, where Mallikarjun Kharge has been brought in as some kind of a safe option. You can't do it that way. Rahul Gandhi needs to recognize that and, go back to what his grandmother did in a way. You break a party if you really believe so strongly in what you think. Otherwise, you just accept that you will have power without responsibility.
And what this entire mismanagement has done is taken the attention away from that Bharat Jodo Yatra. I mean, it was in non-election states, but it wasn't going so badly from a Congress's perspective before they took an axe and hit their foot with it, which is a classical Congress thing of snatching defeat from the jaws of any possibility of achieving victory.
No, but let me just say to that, Rahul, that the yatra is now in Karnataka. Now you've got a Congress president likely from Karnataka. It's the one state which I believe in the next 18 months the Congress has a real chance.
No, give them a chance. Let it come close to the election. They'll blow it up for themselves.
That's right.
They'll find a way of blowing it up.
You see, the challenge for the Congress is
between DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah, they won't be able to make up their mind, and they'll find a way of handing BJP the opportunity to succeed in Karnataka despite all the mismanagement of the Karnataka BJP.
You need three challenges for the Congress, multiple challenges: leadership, organizational, ideological. Until all these three are attended to on a consistent basis, the Congress will find it difficult to become electable in the age of Modi Shah. My sense, therefore, is that the Congress is not recognizing that the world has changed so dramatically that, your approach to all these issues has to be very different to the past. You cannot be in any way status quoist anymore as you were. Playing safe, Sonia Gandhi's been by and large status quoist. She puts a premium on loyalty above all else. And once you put a premium on loyalty above all else, then you don't necessarily pick the best persons to perform the task of messaging, of leadership and organization.
No, not necessarily best. You've arguably picked the worst. I mean, of all the people that you could have chosen, you've picked the most uninspiring choice to be your next president. This is not what young India is looking for. Now, I hope against hope that what Rashid Kidwai is saying is right, and that this ossified electoral college, when they are allowed to vote, feels that conscience and says, let's pick Shashi Tharoor, because then there still is some hope. Otherwise, if after all of this, Mallikarjun Kharge, and I'm saying none of what I've said in the past 40 minutes is with any disrespect to Mallikarjun Kharge. He's a perfectly nice human being. We've chatted oftentimes in Parliament and elsewhere. He's a good human being.
And a great life story. Lost his mother when he was very young, son of a mill worker, came from a very poor Dalit family, worked his way up. has been a 9-time MLA. You go to his constituency in Gulbarga, lots of people appreciate.
Yeah,
the
but you're
work
picking
you're
picking a chief executive in 2022 for he has to have some perpetuity value going out into the future within at least a runway of 8 to 10 years. That's the man. If this was a corporation and you were from your bench picking a CEO to guide your company into the future, the Congress has picked literally the worst choice. And I don't say this with any disrespect for Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. No perpetuity value, no runway going into the future. This Congress plane with him on the pilot seat is not going to take off. It's as obvious as day. But who's listening to either Rajdeep or me? In the end, they'll do what they want and we'll end up with Mallikarjun Kharge. So let's hope Rashid is right tonight. Usually we have differences of opinion, but I'm hoping he's right that in that vote of conscience, if they do decide to let their conscience do the talking, people see reason and they pick whoever they think is actually the best man to revive the Congress. We'll slip into a break when we come back. Trees ripped apart, cars floating on roads and cities without power. Hurricane Ian devastates Florida. Details on the other side.
Hey, I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion.
Fun. I'm so sorry for the delay. I was on another call. It just kept going on.
No, Papa. You have been a steam bath.
Steam bath? At home?
Two steam bath he takes.
Go to your homework.
It's 7:20 already. The kickoff's in 5 minutes. Get all the boys. We have the entire place to ourselves, man. Not working?
Of course it is. But I don't want you guys to be using this bathroom. So use the other one.
Hey, I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion.
Fun.
Armed with facts, she takes the news by its horns.
You think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories. From every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Tonight at 9 p.m. on the news today with me, Rajdeep Sardesai. All the twists and turns in the drama surrounding who will become the next Congress president. Finally, it appears it will be Mallikarjun Kharge versus Dr. Shashi Tharoor. We'll be speaking to Dr. Tharoor among our newsmakers and we'll have analysis on the big question. What do the events of the last week tell us about the state of the health of India's premier opposition party? The grand old party is our focus on the news today.
You're on board the Newstrack. Hurricane Ian has devastated Florida. US officials say the storm has caused historic damage. But the bad news is that soon after Hurricane Ian was downgraded to a tropical storm, it regained strength and is now barreling towards South Carolina.
Hurricane Ian leaves behind a long trail of death and destruction. The hurricane moved north on Friday to make a second landfall in South Carolina, a day after carving a path of destruction across central Florida. Ian, which had weakened to a tropical storm during its march across Florida, regained Category 1 hurricane strength on Thursday afternoon. Hurricane Ian, which first hit Florida on Wednesday, is one of the most powerful storms ever to hit the US mainland. The extent of the damage in Florida became more apparent on Thursday as emergency crews began reaching stranded residents, though the death toll remained uncertain.
We are terrified to see this. We have here. We don't even know what to do. Everything has been shattered. Look at the state of this.
You know, when you first experience all this, it really is sort of numbing. You're overwhelmed. You're still in a little bit of shock. It's not my first hurricane, but it's my first total loss. So I'm trying to be brave. I think I've lost everything I own.
West Florida.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis acknowledged some people had died but declined to confirm a specific figure.
And so people in Southwest Florida, this is going to likely make landfall as a Category 4 hurricane. There will be catastrophic flooding and life-threatening storm surge on the Gulf Coast region. And of course, the highest risk will be in that Southwest Florida region from Naples up to Sarasota. There's also potential for flash flooding and river flooding with 10 to 20 inches across central and northeast Florida. If you are in an evacuation zone, particularly in those Southwest Florida counties, your time to evacuate is coming to an end. You need to evacuate now.
The images after the hurricane are horrifying. Street signs, power lines and trees have littered the roads. In Florida, the roads have been ripped apart with some sections only having pieces left behind. As thousands of people who have been displaced by the hurricane wait for normalcy, the Joe Biden administration is keeping a close eye on the situation. Bureau Report, India Today.
This is where I wrap up the Newstrack tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you at 8 p.m. Monday evening. Till then, from all of us here on the Newstrack team, goodbye, good night, have a great weekend.
Ever wondered how much startup engineers earn annually? Well, they do earn a lot, but not all of their packages make it to the headlines. Software engineers with jobs at Wipro, TCS of the world get paid anything between 4 to 5 lakhs per annum as their starting salary. That looks like mere change when you really look at what startups